Tyres, one of the most important inventions in the history of transport. They have carried us across continents, powered revolutions in mobility shaping the modern world. Beyond all the benefits they provide, there's a cringer side to this invention. Every time a tyre rolls down the road, it wears off into the environment. Each journey, no matter how short, leaves behind a trail of tiny microscopic dust. These particles drift into the air, settle on surfaces, and wash into our waterways. About 4.55 million tons of tyre microplastics are emitted worldwide every year, right under our wheels, dispersed into cities and countrysides. Scientists have discovered these particles everywhere, from the deepest ocean trenches to the highest mountain peaks, all traced backwards to the tyres we use every day. The real drama is invisible, microplastics swirling through the air we breathe, settling on every surface and entering our bodies. This isn't about litter. It's about the menace that seeps into our water and even our food. They start from our roads, but finally end up in ponds, rivers and oceans, impacting our entire planet and entering the food chain, affecting wildlife and humans alike. Whilst we've been worried about just the 8% from the other plastics, mistaking them for being the only culprits, the problem from tyres has quietly grown, almost entirely unnoticed. It's time to look beyond the obvious and face the true scale of plastic pollution, to recognise the threats we can't see as well as those we can. The bigger microplastic enemy is far more widespread than we ever imagined, lurking in the air, silently contaminating our neighbourhood. Let's rewind to the dawn of the wheel, clunking along ancient tracks. These early wheels, carved from solid rock or shaped from heavy timber, delivered a bumpy, noisy ride. For centuries, as we made breakthroughs across physics and kept inventing. Wheels also evolved, making the central part lighter by adding spokes, but comfort was elusive until rubber arrived. The pneumatic tyre, air-filled, made travel smooth. It was a turning point, transforming not just how we travelled, but how far we could go. Journeys became pleasant, opening up possibilities for exploration and connection. Early tyres cracked easily, until clever Swedes in the 1930s discovered ozone was the culprit. This was breaking down the rubber, causing tyres to fail long before their time. Their fix? Tyres that compressed, not stretched, ending the cracking crisis. This breakthrough meant tyres could last longer and perform better, even under tough conditions. Stronger materials like cotton and nylon followed, making tyres tougher and longer lasting. These innovations allowed vehicles carry heavier loads than ever before. The tyre became a marvel of engineering. Today's tyres are the result of centuries of trial and error, designed for safety, speed, and durability. Our world connected, cities grew, and goods moved with ease. The tyre helped shape the modern world, enabling global travel and commerce. But this progress came with a hidden cost, which we're only beginning to understand. Tiny particles from tyres raise new questions about sustainability. What brought comfort and freedom, but also an environmental price tag? As we enjoy the benefits, we must also reckon with the impact on our planet. The story is about ingenuity and unintended consequences. As we look to the future, the challenge is clear. Can we keep rolling forward without leaving a trail of harm behind? On the morning of 1st September 2021, the world officially resumed from the deadly COVID-19 pandemic. They rapidly started delivering our food, rebuilding our cities, and kept the society rolling, emitting over 15,000 kilograms of microplastic each consecutive minute, globally. Nearly 2.7 billion new tyres were produced in the next year, enough to circle the globe about 148 times. We soon realised how every car, truck and bus depended on them, and so does our entire economy. Emergency services, farmers, delivery vans, all solely rely on the tyres to function. They were the only reliable contact between us and all other means of transport systems, at least equally crucial as fuel. They've given us mobility, prosperity, and global supply chains, even the most rare antiques and the exotic fruits on your table. Thank a few tyres that did the job right. But this convenience comes at a cost, something we can no longer ignore. Our dependence on tyres is total, and so is the scale of their environmental impact. Here's the connection: billions of tyres and a growing microplastic crisis. The world rolls forward, but the consequences are catching up. Every time we drive, we're not just burning fuel, we're also wearing down our tyres, leaving behind traces we rarely think about. Tyre wear is now one of the largest sources of microplastic pollution worldwide, quietly outpacing even some of the most notorious plastic polluters, like single-use bags and bottles. Each tyre loses staggering volume in its lifetime. Imagine heaps of invisible dust scattered across our roads and waterways. In Europe alone, over 500,000 tons of tyre dust are generated every year. That's enough to fill hundreds of Olympic-sized swimming pools with microscopic particles. These particles, called tyre and road wear particles, TRWPs, are a complex mix of synthetic polymers, chemicals, and road debris. They're small enough to be carried by wind and rain. Every acceleration, brake, and turn releases invisible puffs of pollution. It's a process that happens constantly, with every journey, no matter how short or long. For decades, we focused on exhaust fumes, missing the pollution happening at road level, right beneath our feet and wheels. Even low-emission electric cars, often seen as the future of clean transport, leave a significant environmental footprint. The transport sector is the biggest contributor to microplastic emissions, with fairly every kind of trucks, buses and cars playing a part in this pollution. Our freedom to move, whether it's a family road trip, a daily commute, or a walk along a busy street, comes with a hidden, persistent cost that affects us all. The true price of mobility is a cloud of plastic dust we're only just beginning to see, drifting through our environment and into our lives, often unnoticed but impossible to ignore. It's not just how many cars, but how we drive them. Aggressive driving, hard acceleration and braking, creates more tyre microplastics. Heavy vehicles like trucks and SUVs shed even more particles. Electric cars, with their hefty batteries, can be worse offenders. Urban driving, with constant stops and turns, is a hotspot for tyre pollution. City air is thick with invisible tyre dust, settling everywhere and entering our lungs. Country roads, with steady speeds, are gentler on tyres. Every choice, vehicle type, driving style, road, adds to the plastic haze. Proper tyre inflation helps, but the problem persists as long as heavy vehicles roll on abrasive roads. Our transport system was built without considering this side effect. The invisible haze is a consequence of modern life. We all contribute, often without realizing it. How do scientists track these invisible particles? They collect samples from air, soil, water, and even wastewater sludge. Under powerful microscopes, tyre particles stand out, often cigar-shaped and finer than a human hair. The smallest particles travel far, carried by wind and water. Up to 70% settle in soil near roads. The rest wash into rivers, lakes, and oceans, or float in the air we breathe. This detective work reveals the true scale of tyre pollution. We're learning how these particles move, accumulate, and impact ecosystems. It's a global problem, contaminating even the most remote places. Tyre particles aren't just rubber. They're a chemical cocktail. Modern tyres contain hundreds of chemicals, synthetic polymers, fillers, antioxidants, and more. As tyres wear, these chemicals are released, creating a toxic mix in our environment. Some chemicals dissolve in water, forming a dangerous soup that flows into rivers. A tragic example: on America's west coast, a tyre chemical called 6-ppd-quinone poisoned coho salmon in urban streams. This discovery proved tyre pollution is both a plastic and chemical crisis. We're releasing a poorly understood mix of toxins into soil and water daily. The long-term effects on wildlife and ourselves are still unknown. Even the physical particles harm small organisms that mistake them for food. The story of the salmon is a warning. Tyre pollution is a multifaceted threat. The danger is real, and it's right on our doorstep. Electric cars promise a green future, but it's not the whole story. While they cut exhaust emissions, they don't solve the tyre microplastic problem. Heavier electric vehicles can actually worsen tyre wear. The focus on tailpipe emissions has blinded us to non-exhaust pollution. We celebrate cleaner engines, but ignore the need for greener tyres. A truly green vehicle doesn't exist yet. The job is unfinished. The next challenge: address the entire environmental footprint, not just the fuel. So, what's next? We can't go back to horse and cart. The answer is innovation, reinventing the tyre for a cleaner future. Tyre makers must use safer, simpler materials and design for durability. Regulations should set limits on tyre wear and require environmental labels. Smarter road drainage can capture particles before they reach rivers. We need better technology, smarter choices, and societal change. Smoother driving, public transport, and proper tyre care all help. The journey to solve tyre microplastic pollution starts now, because our planet can't wait.